The rejection happened on Christmas Eve, under a sky filled with falling snow and glowing lights, when hope feels the most fragile. She stood outside the cafe, hands trembling not from the cold, but from the weight of embarrassment and disappointment. Watching the door close behind the man who had decided she was not worth a second cup of coffee. In that moment, surrounded by laughter, music, and couples holding hands, she felt more invisible than ever. Christmas was supposed to be about warmth and belonging. Yet she felt like a shadow passing through someone else's celebration, carrying years of quiet loneliness in her chest. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unexpected miracles, take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that even the coldest nights can lead to the warmest surprises. Her name was Emma, and rejection was not new to her. But that night cut deeper because she had finally allowed herself to hope. She had agreed to the blind date after months of convincing herself she was ready to try again, ready to believe that maybe she could be chosen for once. Instead, she was dismissed politely, almost kindly, which somehow hurt more. As she walked away from the cafe, the city lights blurred through her tears. She wondered how she had reached her mid-30s, still feeling like she was waiting for life to begin. She had a good heart, a steady job as a kindergarten assistant, and a love for children that filled every quiet corner of her life. Yet she returned every evening to a small apartment where silence greeted her, but decided not to go straight home. Christmas Eve had a way of making empty apartments feel unbearable, so she wandered through the decorated streets, letting the cold numb her thoughts. Store windows glowed with warmth, families laughed inside restaurants, and church bells rang softly in the distance. She told herself she would just keep walking until the ache in her chest softened. That was when she noticed a small community hall near the park. Its doors open, lights spilling out onto the snow. A handwritten sign announced a Christmas charity event for families who had lost loved ones. Something about the sign pulled her inside, perhaps because she knew too well what it felt like to carry loss quietly. Inside, the air smelled of cocoa and pine, and soft music played as volunteers arranged gifts on long tables. Emma offered to help without thinking, tying ribbons, handing out cups, and smiling at strangers who did not know her pain. First time that evening, she felt useful, present, almost at peace. Then she noticed them, two little girls sitting side by side near the Christmas tree. Identical in every way, with wide eyes and matching coats that were slightly too thin for the weather. They clutched each other's hands as if the world might fall apart if they let go. Emma learned through gentle observation that the twins had lost their mother the previous winter and their father earlier that year. They were living temporarily with distant relatives who had brought them to the event, but seemed overwhelmed themselves. The girls watched every adult with a mixture of hope and caution, like children who had learned too early that love could disappear. Emma felt something stir inside her, a familiar ache mixed with an instinct she could never explain. The same instinct that had drawn her to work with children in the first place. As the evening went on, Emma found herself sitting near the twins, helping them decorate paper ornaments and laughing softly at their concentration. She did not speak much, and neither did they, but there was a quiet understanding in the way. They leaned closer to her, in the way their shoulders relaxed. Emma felt time slow, the noise of the room fading into the background. For the first time in years, she was not thinking about what she lacked, but about what she could give. Later that night, as the event began to wind down, Emma helped clean up, expecting nothing more than the gentle satisfaction of having spent Christmas Eve doing something kind. That was when the twins stood up, still holding hands, and walked toward her with a seriousness that did not belong to children so young. They looked up at her with eyes full of questions they were too small to put into words, and in that moment, Emma felt her breath catch. She did not know what they were about to say, but she felt the weight of it before it happened. The question they asked was simple, yet powerful, born from innocence and longing rather than logic. It was not asked with certainty or expectation, but with hope, the kind that risks heartbreak because it believes in miracles. Emma felt the world tilt as their words settled into her heart, shaking loose something she had buried long ago. She had spent years telling herself she was not chosen, not wanted, not enough. Yet here in this humble hall on Christmas Eve too, little souls saw something in her worth reaching for. Emma did not answer right away. She could not. Tears filled her eyes as memories of her own childhood surfaced, of growing up with parents who loved her but struggled, of promising herself she would one day create a home full of warmth and safety. She thought of the blind date of the rejection. That had made her feel small and unwanted, and realized how strangely distant it felt now. Life had a way of closing one door with finality, only to open another in the most unexpected place. The relatives rushed over, embarrassed and apologetic, explaining the twins' situation and gently guiding them away. Emma nodded, understanding that such a question carried weight and complexity far beyond a moment. Yet as she watched the twins leave, she felt a sense of loss deeper than anything she had felt earlier that night. No, it was different from romantic. Rejection. This was the ache of connection interrupted, of possibility slipping through her fingers. At night, Emma returned to her apartment, but it no longer felt quite as empty. Her mind replayed the evening over and over, the warmth of the hall, the small hands in hers, the question that echoed in her heart. She did not sleep much, torn between fear and hope. The idea that she could be more than alone, that she could be chosen in a way that truly mattered, terrified and thrilled her at the same time. In the days that followed, Emma could not let go of the memory. She learned through the charity coordinator that the twins' future was uncertain, that social services were involved, and that they desperately needed stability. Emma wrestled with doubt, questioning whether she was strong enough, whether she had enough to give, whether love alone could be enough. But each time fear arose, it was met by an even stronger feeling, a quiet certainty that some moments in life are invitations we are meant to accept, even if we are scared. Emma began the long, complicated process of becoming a foster parent, a journey filled with paperwork, interviews, and sleepless nights. There were moments she wanted to quit, moments when the weight of responsibility felt overwhelming. Yet through it all, she held on to the memory of that Christmas Eve, of how the twins had looked at her not as someone broken or rejected, but as someone safe. Slowly, her life began to change. Her apartment transformed, filled with small beds, drawings on the fridge, and laughter she had never known she needed so much. The first night the twins came to stay with her, Emma sat awake long after they fell asleep, listening to their steady breathing, feeling a peace settle over her heart. She understood then that love does not always arrive in the way we expect. Sometimes it comes disguised as rejection, as loss, as a door closing, only to lead us toward something far greater than what we thought we wanted. As Christmas returned the following year, Emma stood in her living room watching the twins decorate their tree, their laughter filling the space where silence once lived. She thought back to the woman she had been 1 year earlier, standing alone, in the snow outside a cafe, feeling unwanted and invisible. She wished she could tell her that rejection was not the end of her story, that the love she was searching for was already on its way, carried in the hearts of 2 little girls who would one day call her home. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that love can find us when we least expect it, please take a moment to like this video. Share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more stories that inspire and heal. And before this story ends, leave a comment below telling us what this journey made you feel, because your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. Sometimes being rejected is not a sign that we are unworthy, but a gentle redirection toward the life we were always meant to live. On a cold Christmas Eve, one woman lost a date and found a family, proving that the greatest miracles often begin with heartbreak and end with love.